Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
For right now, I think we're still waiting for that kind of Memorial Day weekend, NVIDIA earnings, and May expiration to unleash any further real kind of volatility of size.
Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes these moves can go on a little farther than you think they can go. And you've got this VIX. 20 is probably not a bad spot. I like your call on that. One thing is I see that
it could go lower. My point is I saw it falling into, and last week I had a level, and then on Monday I updated it. So I said, no, I can see VVIX falling into 93 and VIX falling into 20. And then let's see, it could still drop 20, but that would only happen if we get some positive news, number one. And number two, that would trigger VIX falling underneath that 20, which would trigger a whole bunch of those puts unwinding. So that has to happen for me. Otherwise, we're just going to, 20 is the next level. I'm going to say, let's look then. Let's see then.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You've got the term structure starting to get happy again. And I know that's hard. Yep. Sometimes it's hard for people to see that because we've had to rally 600-700 points in order to get to the point where we're saying, oh, now the VIX term structure is saying everything's calm. But that's the way volatility works, right? When you're in the midst of this is basically showing you that first month versus second month future, which when that front month future is higher than the second, it's a sign of disturbance, there's a disturbance in the force, right? People are very nervous about things. They're very panicky in the short term. So this is starting to unwind a little bit. So we could very well see once we backwardate like this, then that's usually a sign of maybe some more durable fear, which is exactly what we had. Now, not always. Sometimes we get whipped and we head back up. This time, it just got ugly. If we start to get back to this level, we may need to get back to a slight contango before things get ugly again. There may have to be a complete withdrawal of the levels of fear that we've seen before we potentially head back down into some sort of the reality of economic numbers and earnings and things like that. But for now, as I said,
peace deals, trade deals, and debt ceiling / tax cut deals. If we see that, we have this kind of relief rally of size that will include, I think, some shorts unwinding. If we do not, this is instant short at will, kind of like when we were live on April 2nd and we're looking at the futures market and we're like, it's going to tank. That was perfect. If we don't get the tax cuts passed, it is in essence a tax hike. We would be very quickly into sell-off mode again in a New York minute. Like it would be very clear. That's not what they're going for right now. They're trying to get their ducks in a row there with trade deals that will offset some of the tax cuts. But we already are used to the tax cuts. So if they aren't followed through, then there'll be a hike. So that's the problem. We have risk, but right now it doesn't look like the market cares about any of it. We're still pricing in resolution of those things: peace, trade, and tax.
Peace, trade, and tax, and minerals, and Ukraine minerals, if they can pull that off as well.
That's part of the trade. That's part of the peace. That's part of the peace. That bundle of peace trade is the Ukraine minerals, which is, again, that's a lot of noise, but definitely armistice, Ukraine and Russia is not noise. And then anything related to trade deals, which is China-based. Lots of other countries are not going to pull anywhere near the weight or remove the worry. As much as we love doing business with India, it's more the people than the products. And then ultimately, we just got to get through this raising of the debt ceiling and the tax cuts passed, because if it doesn't happen, we will be in recession regardless. So that's what we're looking for, is relief rally from those macro event risks.
And it has been, I have to say, the rally in MAG has been very impressive, right? So we really there was a reluctance for MAG to take part in all this. And this is finally, they've broken it open here and they've gone bananas to the upside a little bit here. So except for not everything, right? NVIDIA is I'm a little bit negative on NVIDIA. I don't think it has a lot of upside. I'm a little bit negative on Google as well. I think they're under serious. Think you're seeing that. You saw this nice pop on terrific earnings and then it filling right back in. I'm nervous about it. I own some, but I sold a whole bunch when it popped up there. And I just think there's
Google or NVIDIA? For me, NVIDIA is only a trade. I am very bearish, big picture. But as it relates to trade, this is such a huge weighting in SMH and related are so key to the MAG 7 and SPX cap weighting, and NASDAQ, we can't ignore it. So I'm very focused on NVIDIA as it relates to the next time they will disappoint. But for right now, it's still bid. It's not falling apart. So
yeah, it's still bid, but the story. And so I keep telling people, look for charts to improve. And I'm seeing some improvement. I like that chart you showed on the SPY. See that sort of breakout above that line. So we pulled back to the 9-day EMA today, which is one of my favorites. I think you've got the 8 on there. So I think we can bounce between that 9 and that 50. And as long as we stay above that line, I think it's an area where maybe you can trade around this a little bit and not worry. As I said this morning, I said, I think we're going to buy the dip. And we did. I think it remains that. I think there's still people, as I said last week with Brent, I said, I think there's just more of an unwind of that bearishness that needs to happen. We don't know how long that can last, but maybe VIX 20 is potentially the level there. I've been trying to focus on good things like a Netflix, like a Costco, covered some credit spreads in Costco today. So just trying to stay in those good charts, in those areas where I just feel like there's some positive storyline and the charts aren't broken. I don't really want to get super long. Like you said, I don't mind playing for a bounce in a broken chart, but it is just a trade. It is just a trade. But for anything else,
you're not chasing Weight Watchers coming up from 10 cents to $1.10? Oh my goodness.
I missed that one. Damn.
Please, it's okay. It's okay. That's hedge fund factor rotation coming in and covering their protracted downtrends there. They've made
Oh my goodness. Who's still short at 10 cents? Who would be still short at 10 cents? That's
there you go.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.